This piece is one of my Series 2 wristwatches, and it is an open dial version. The case is made from 18 karat white gold and has a diameter of 40mm. I've been making watches now for over 20 years, and one of my sort of ideas and philosophies that I developed over the years is really I'm very interested in the movement architecture, and also what I'm trying to create are wristwatches and pocket watches which will last for many generations. And so I have to take a very different approach to the way in which I construct my mechanisms. So this particular piece, well, I hope this really helps to show my approach to this sort of three-dimensional architecture to the mechanism. And what I've tried to create is lots of different areas, lots of different heights throughout the piece. And the idea is to create interest and intrigue for the eventual owner of the piece. I have a rule for making my steelwork throughout the watches, and I have a minimum thickness of 0.5 mm. There are several reasons for doing this. One of them is so that I can apply a nice sort of full polished bevel to the corner of each component, but also it gives me the chance to be able to apply a black polish to some very large surface areas without fear of distorting the components and so on. A further reason for making components out of this sort of thickness of material is that I believe that it will provide the particular component with life, a long life, a long working life, and will basically help to extend the life of the piece for many generations to come. Turning over the watch, we can see the reverse, and what we have here is a very traditionally high quality finished English wristwatch. Now, one of the features here is this very large 3/4 plate, and this is a very traditional English feature. Now, I'm going to use words here like strength and rigidity, and these are very little used words in modern watchmaking, and I believe it's essential if you're wanting to create a piece which will last for many generations. And so, looking throughout the whole mechanism, every single component has been designed not only with aesthetics in mind, but also the long-term life of the component. Here we have a steel bridge which supports the upper pivot for the cone and lever, and this wheel here, which are all to do with the up and down mechanism. And again, as with all the steelwork throughout all of my watches, we apply this black polish to the upper surface of every single steel component. This has a couple of functions. Well, firstly, should any moisture ever get into the mechanism, then because we have a black polish, it will prevent or help to prevent the ingress of rust into the component. But also nowadays in modern watchmaking, we use a black polish really just to show off the level of the watchmaker's skill. Another key feature to all of my watches is the coaxial escapement, and it's an escapement which I've worked with for many years now. Living on the Isle of Man, we have a very famous watchmaker who's world renowned, a man called George Daniels, and he invented this coaxial escapement some 35 years ago. Over the years I've gained great experience in the method of construction and function and so on, and over the past 2 years I've been very interested in trying to improve on the way that we make the components. Technically wise, function wise, the escapement operates exactly the same as the Daniels coaxial escapement, but what I've done with this escape wheel is to combine the traditional two levels, two-tier sets of teeth into one wheel, and the purpose for doing this is really to ensure that we have total concentricity between the outer teeth tips here and then the second set of teeth and also the pivot point, and this goes some way to helping improve the reliability of the escapement and so on. Also, we can now guarantee that there is we have the angular orientation, which is so critical on your coaxial escapement. We can ensure that it's now perfectly set between the two sets of teeth. And so this is a development which will be used extensively throughout all my watches in years to come. And what I hope that this goes some way to achieving is that I'm very keen to further enforce the Isle of Man as the centre of the bespoke handmade watch, and also the continual development of the mechanical timekeeper, and really try and push forward and continue the incredible work that George Daniels has already done in improving mechanical timekeeping for the modern mechanical wristwatch.